Hey, it's Chris Fenton here, and I'm shooting this video for everybody to talk about assessed values and how they relate to actual real life values. This is probably the most common question I get asked as a listing agent, and probably one of the biggest roadblocks people have to understanding their actual value of their home. When you own a house and you're thinking about selling it, you kind of have two places to immediately go to find out what it might be worth. You have the assessed BC assessment that the government sends you for tax purposes, and they give you a value of what they've assessed your house at. And then the other place you have to look is active listings that are currently on the market, and you can start comparing yourself to other houses. As a real estate professional who prices houses every day and has been doing so for 2 decades, I don't look at either of those sources of information when trying to determine what the fair market value of your house might be. What I'm interested in looking at is something that unfortunately you don't have access to as a member of the public, which is the sales. I want to look for houses like yours that have sold recently. And this is the best source of information we can use to predict what your house might sell for. And I want to really stress that when you're asking an appraiser or a real estate professional to assess your property for value, what they're doing is they're estimating what it might sell for. They're estimating what we call fair market value. The only way to know fair market value is to sell a property. And so, and of course, you can't sell a property until you've estimated what it's worth. So it's this sort of chicken and the egg, if you will. So understand that this is an estimate of what we think your property should be worth. And the best source of information is sales. Now, often in that process, people will say, well, my assessed value is X. And in my opinion, or in my experience, houses are selling above or below assessed value. And I wanted to show with facts and data that there is no way to use assessed value to predict your property's value. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you. And I've created this spreadsheet. Now let me take a second to explain what this spreadsheet is. This is all public information. It is every house that's sold within a month of the BC assessment date. So when the assessment sends you a price, that's the other thing you need to know. That assessed value is as of July 1st of the previous year, or the last July 1st, maybe I should say. So what we wanted to do was pull every single family house that had sold within a 1 month window of July 1st. And that's what I've done. And I've done this for the city of Port Alberni. I could do this for any city in BC, and I'm going to get very similar results. And the reason for this is because BC assessments by nature aren't very accurate. And let me tell you why. They're not very accurate because the BC Assessment Authority does not have the manpower to go to each property and look at each property and assess it and do a detailed analysis. So what they're doing is they're blanket, I'm assuming, I've never been part of their process, is they're probably blanket covering large areas, but certainly they've never been inside of your house. So they don't know about any updates or anything that's gone on inside. And I've never personally had a BC assessor knock at my door either. So they're trying to, they have to come up with an efficient way to estimate value for tax purposes, balancing their need to get as accurate as possible with the resources they have available to them, or maybe the resources that they want to spend on this. So when we price a home, of course, we're going inside the house, we're making notes about everything, we're really getting to know the kitchens and the bathrooms and the number of bedrooms and bathrooms and everything that's going on with that house. So the result is a far more accurate result. So here's every single family house that's sold. And what I've done here is I have price that it's sold for. This is public record. And this is the assessed value, again, within a month. And what we have here is I've tabulated this. I've done the entire valley. And you can see that there's inexpensive houses and expensive houses. It doesn't seem to matter what price range it is. It's still relatively inaccurate. So over here, I've summarized it all for you. Basically, what we have in this last year, which is 2023, is we have 65% of homes sold above the assessed value, but 32% sold below the assessed value. That's a very significant portion. So when I'm pricing your house and if we wanted to use the assessment, we have no way of knowing if you're the 32% that sold below assessed value or the 65% that was going to sell above assessed value. Only 4% sold at assessed value. So it really is a tool that we as real estate professionals know that we simply can't rely on. And I hope this helps you have more information. When you go to price your property, when you do it with a real estate professional, take the time to sit down with them, have them show you through the comparable sales, and really try to understand how your house compares to these other houses from a real estate perspective. That's your best way to understand what your property is worth. That's the best way you're going to have the best information to make the best decisions for you and your family. I hope this was helpful. See you next time.